Welcome to this week's episode of the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. This week, I'm your host, Varun Garg from Singapore, and I'm really excited because I have two guests with me. Now, before I introduce them, you guys know us. You've been following us for a while. The three of us who host this grew up in Delhi. We've been Delhi Capitals fans. We always say that we're like a Delhi Capitals podcast. And so today we have the pleasure of having two people from the Delhi Capitals joining us. We've got with us Siddharth Bhasin, who's the Delhi Capitals team manager. Welcome to the show, Sid.
Thanks, Varun. Great to be here.
And we also have Vaibhav Dhar, who's the head of marketing for Delhi Capitals. Vaibhav, great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for calling us. Thank you.
As you can see, for the guys on YouTube, I'm excited. I'm smiling. I'm wearing the DC jersey. First off, big congratulations to the Delhi Capitals for having qualified. We saw on Friday night, the official announcement came. We always knew it's going to happen, but it's good to have that Q next to our name on the points table. Let me get into a quick intro for you guys, right? Siddharth, I'm going to ask you to please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your career so far. You know, I hear you've had many hats with the Delhi Capitals or even the Delhi Daredevils. Share with us a little bit about your career, how you got into this line and what it's been like.
Right. Yeah, Varun. So I've been involved with sports management since 2005. So a little over 16 years now. And then this dates back to the days, pre-IPL days rather, because IPL inception was 2008. So first 3 years of my career were mainly restricted to, international cricket matches. So again, pre-IPL era, mostly about international cricket matches being played in India, athlete representation, in-stadium sales, selling things like syndicated columns, TV interviews, sponsorships, sports hospitality. And then 2008 happened, IPL happened, which kind of changed the face of sports in India. 2010 was Commonwealth Games. All that led to where we are today. We had various sports come up with, leagues of their own, be it Hockey India, be it Pro Kabaddi, be it the ISL. So been part of the industry since the pre-league era. So seen the change. It's been a great journey till now. Was associated with the Delhi Daredevils as part of a sports management agency since 2008 itself. Ended up joining the franchise back in 2012. And carried on till it got rebranded to Delhi Capitals. Of course, donned many hats since then. Be it the stadium, be it activation, be it heading operations and leading up to being the team manager where I am right now. So yeah, quite colorful, I'd say.
Very nice. Any favorite out of all the roles you've held so far?
Well, every role has its own charm. I mean, the pre-IPL era, I was also pretty young back then and doing athlete representation, managing the likes of, Rahul Dravid, Mohammad Kaif, who we now work with closely as a coach, Irfan Pathan, Ajit Agarkar, so on and so forth. That had a very different charm to it. Then moved onto the client side, the sponsor side, the sales side, got a taste of the industry and, it was quite bare bones back then. But then IPL changed everything. So, it's been great. And every time you think that, you're hitting complacency because you've done a role multiple times, you get pushed into doing something new. So, which has been great. I think I've been lucky that way.
Awesome. That sounds like a regular corporate world kind of roles and changing every 2-3 years. Now, let's come to our second guest. So for all our listeners out there, I think my dream job would be DC team manager, right? That would be my dream job. My second dream job, which should probably be a little more realistic because I do marketing myself, is the role that actually Vaibhav has today. So Vaibhav, welcome to the show. Vaibhav heads marketing. Tell us a little bit about your career, how you got into this and how it's been.
Again, something Sid said in the last part of his part was that feeling lucky. So I think first thing I would say is I've always felt lucky that I'm working in this industry. It's not a regular corporate job, mind you. So that's where the difference is. That's why we stay in these jobs. But say for me, it started. I used to, be a semi-professional runner. Obviously, at one particular stage, I stopped. So I wanted to continue in sports. Uh, and as people like Sid were the early starters, and I think I would say I was just the next generation to that. My journey started after doing a sports management course from Liverpool, and as luck would have it, my first job itself ended up being ISL. So launching the ISL with IMG Reliance, and being part of cricket or tennis there. Uh, great learning, because first job in itself, young chap getting to travel all over India, great bosses, doing grassroots all over India. So it was great learning those 3-4 years at Reliance. From there, I moved on to IPTL. Now, obviously, closed down IPTL, which was being done by Mahesh Bhupati, International Premier Tennis League. Again, getting to travel to 8-9 different countries over 2.5 years. Uh, Great, and I love tennis as in my favorite sport. So 2 years of that, and from there, the rebranding happened. From Delhi Daredevils to Delhi Capitals, and I was lucky enough to be part of the team from the beginning. So yeah, and I'm enjoying it. There we have made good friends. It's been a I would say a struggling journey, but last 3 years have been great. Sid's record as team manager is so great. He's like 9 wins out of 12. I mean, yeah, that's it. That's it. That is what it matters. And for us, I think from a journey point of view, it's an insane journey. I think sports is a very different industry. Sports is a very different job, and sports is a very different product. It's called EQ, which in marketing we call the emotional quotient, which no other product in the world has. So yeah, that's why you can't go anywhere else. You won't go anywhere else. So yeah.
Absolutely. So that brings me to two interesting questions, and I'm going to ask it whichever one of you want to answer. Let me know. One, how has the Daredevils, or now the Delhi Capitals, managed to build such an emotional connect with the team, even though we have not won an IPL trophy? Like, do you just put it down to the fans? Do you put it down to the sport itself? Like, how do you build that connect?
I think I'll answer the question from a marketing point of view, and then Sid can answer from either a fan or a person who has seen the changes. So I think you'll get both the perspective. See, from us, I think uh, at the end of the day, let me be very honest with you. Whatever work we do, whatever work I do, the team has to do well. We are under no illusions as to, we may be responsible for maybe 10, maximum 20% uh, of the aura, uh, which itself may be equal to the 80% on ground, but that 80% is, at the end of the day, we are a sports team. Your fans want result, and as we say, yeah, Delhi wale hai. And Delhi people want something to, I'll give you a very small example. So we have done a double over Bombay this season. This double has been after, if I'm not wrong, 2018. Just the fact that we have done a double, our fans have been killing the MI fans over internet since yesterday.
Yeah.
And we have not even won. So Delhi wala need that that some sort of a belief that yes, this team is good, and I think we just compliment them at the end of the day. And I think that belief over last 3 years, uh, has come back. And I think, Sid can add from his point of view how it has impacted the city. But yeah, for me, it is the team performance at the end of the day.
Sid,
No,
anything
sure.
you'd like to add? Yeah.
No, just taking cue from what Vaibhav has said, he's absolutely right there. Like he said in his introduction as well, the emotional quotient part and the passion aspect of it. I mean, the sheer fact that the word fan is actually short for fanatic, right? Which means that there's some fanaticism within you for following this particular team or this sport. Uh, while the fans and of the Delhi team, I in my limited opinion, I don't think they really care what the team is called or named, or who owns the team, where it comes from. For them, ये दिल्ली की team है और हमारा इसमें इतना ही holding है जितना किसी और का. They have as much stake in the team as people who own it or people who run it, because they are emotionally invested in this team. And I think Delhi, like any other team, any other fan base, supported its team right through, whether it was Daredevils or Capitals. But I just feel that as a fan myself, we did have a bad period in terms of performance, which happens with, which can happen to any team. And now with Delhi Capitals and this whole aspect of rebranding, etc., has come to the fore only because, like Vaibhav said, the team is performing. So the fans are back with a vengeance, and even though the trophy has eluded us all this while, I think they as well as us can sense it, touch wood, that it feels like it's reachable. Which was missing for some reason or the other, be it bad luck, one may call it, or whatever else. Wouldn't want to comment on that too much. I'm not a cricket expert, but we are where we are today, and it's just great to have this surge of support and people who are pushing you online and on ground, and people back home in our families are cheering for you. I mean, everyone wants the jersey, everyone wants the cap, everyone wants a ticket, everyone wants to know what's life like in the bubble. It's unbelievable. So yeah, it's great to be where we are.
I can vouch for that. The last 3 years performance has given me so much bragging rights on our WhatsApp groups, which previously I used to stay a little bit quiet on, but now I go all out. I blast everyone on the WhatsApp groups. But both of you touched upon this, the rebranding, right? As fans also, we want to understand a little bit more about this. We had Danny Morrison on our podcast, and he was absolutely crushed that the double D's is no longer a name that he can shout while doing his commentary. Can either of you talk to us a little bit about the rebranding? What went through it? How did it unfold? The thinking?
I think Vaibhav can take that because he was instrumental in the rebranding. So.
Sure.
No, I was not instrumental. I had a small part to play, but the point was, I think when the changeover happened, I think between both the owners, they must have decided a long-term way forward, and that way forward was basically rebranding and rechanging, I think, the DNA itself. That's how I think I would like to put it. And that is how the whole concept came along. So, and the rebranding was, I think, I don't know if there's a word called re-DNA, but it had to be from zero. So I think that is what the instructions I had and the team had, which included obviously the name change, the slogan change and the anthem change. I think that is how it started, but also, as small as something like, there was no problem when Sid was working at the stadium, but how can he make it even better? How can that branding even show up in the stadium? How can that DNA change show up in the stadium, on ground, in marketing, in sales, everywhere? So I think we started from zero. The name was decided by owners among, I think, 5, 6, 7, 8 names, and they decided on Delhi Capitals because it's Delhi, it's in the capital, and I think somewhere related to the Washington Capitals. I think that was something they wanted. One big change I think we did as a team was, I think we decided that we have to stick at one identity. That's why Ye Hai Nayi Delhi is what we call our identity for eternity. I think it's only happens in India. I think today only we were discussing with someone that it only happens in India, that there's a new anthem every year. There's a new hashtag every year. Nowhere in the world in sports it happens.
Yeah, because you want to build that longevity and the familiarity, right?
Yeah. So I think some of the things we decided, and I think this is something we did in a bigger way. Fan, we went fan first. We did, I think if you follow our social media, which I'm pretty sure you do, you'll see we are the only team that is on ground also all the time, whether it's cycling, running, tree plantations, dog drives, women's safety. So that's how I think that's the complete change in the DNA. So yeah, that's something from my side I will tell you. And I think Sid can also add, obviously he can add that how he saw it and how he implemented in the stadium, or because everybody was part of this change. Yes, marketing has a role from a point of view of making it out, but every department help it out. So Sid, what your comments, please?
Yeah, absolutely, Vaibhav. Like you said, I think the decision was to uh, change the DNA, of this team going forward, and which is what we kind of unfolded. But again, I would like to bring it back to how it all emanates from team performance, and that has been the key differentiating factor, irrespective of the team name and the branding and whatever we do around it. It all stems from there. Be it the fans, be it the following, be it the sponsorship monies, be it the stadium occupancy, the number of people who are fighting to get into the stadium and who will pay any kind of premium to get a ticket. It all of it stems from performance. We've always had the stars, but when everyone comes together and starts playing as a unit and puts up those points on the board. I mean, we qualified for the playoffs after 2012, after a very, very long gap. And the city was parched for that kind of a performance. You're watching your TV screens at night. I mean, there's just about 40,000 people in the stadium, but there are crores of people watching at home, and you're watching TV with your families or with your friends, or you're at a pub, or you're having your meal, and you want to see the team win, or at least you want to see them put up a great fight. And so I think most of the battle, like Weber had said earlier, is played out on the field, on the pitch, and that is what kind of translates into what the kind of spin Weber can put on it through his marketing, or what we do in our operations or social media, or the communication that goes out. But yeah, I think that's what's been key in bringing about this change, and hopefully it continues. It's been 3 straight years into the playoffs, and again looking at another one. So I think that's what keeps everyone going.
I'll very quickly add one point that Sid said, and he reminded me something. Last year, I think Manan will be laughing when he hears this. 2 point things happened when we reached the final last year. One was, I think there were some 8-9 thousand comments in the Instagram post, and there were so many comments that I had been a closet fan for so many years, but today I will proudly say I am a DC fan. Oh, this is the day I had been waiting for 13 years. And it was just a never ending streak of these messages. That was one. Felt very nice, obviously. I hope we are able to give something better this year. And the second was that the moment we reached the final, I remember Sid was sitting in my room. We used to hang out together and chill out a bit after a game. And me talking to Sid, oh Sid, do we call the police? Do we call the municipality? Do we call security? What if we have to take out the victory parade? And we're like, yeah, it's COVID. What if the city comes out? For to even think something like that, the city will come out for us. It's just insane. So this is something, as Sid mentioned, that also I think something has changed in the DNA itself, that we also have the confidence that if we win, the city will be out on the street. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. That's a really good story to hear. Very good to get some insights about the rebranding. I'm now going to flip it completely. And you mentioned getting the city out on the streets. Tell us now a little bit about what it's like to be in a bubble where you can't really go out on the streets. So give us a little bit of the rundown of how it works. What is the reality like? What are both of you in the bubble? How has life been for you guys in the bubble and for players? Share with us some of that.
Okay, let me start by giving you a yardstick. uh, IPL 2020, we arrived in Dubai on 21st August. We left Dubai on 12th November. Yeah, this year our bubble back home in during the India leg started on 22nd of March. got over midway because IPL got suspended. So by 6th of May. And we reached Dubai again this year on 21st August. And we'll be here till about 17th October. So just to put things in perspective, out of 14 months, we'll be in a bubble for over 6.5 months, almost 7.
Wow.
So yeah, that's 50% of the term. Uh, Now, to put it very unconventionally, it's a great life. You're in a 5-star hotel, you have a great view, you order room service, people come and clean your room, you're chilling with the players, your life just circles around playing matches, going for practice. So, hey, how bad can it be? But yeah, on the practical side, it does get monotonous after a while, and you do miss that kind of freedom to step out and just to be able to step out of the bubble and take a walk, or just at a whim or fancy decide what you want to do that evening, or where you'd like to go and spend the day, stuff like that. That being said, there's been so many learning over this 1 year period. The first time we heard the term biosecure bubble was exactly a year ago. It was only in August last year that this whole concept came about because of the pandemic. And honestly, we are really, really fortunate and one of the privileged few who have still managed to hang on to something that we love. And the league, I mean, the BCCI, the ECB, they've all ensured that the fans don't lose out and the league carries on. Despite it being suspended earlier this year, all efforts have been made for it to continue and finish. And we are heading towards that. And it's not just us, it's the players, it's the broadcasters, it's people who are on ground, it's the security guys, it's the bubble integrity managers, the support staff, everyone around this whole great game leave their families behind and come here for months at end and be in this bubble. So that kind of adds a lot of depth to the camaraderie and the relationships that one has with each other. We keep egging each other on. So it's not as tough as it is made out to be, because I know a million people who'd kill to be where I am today and for me to be out of the bubble. So we do appreciate that. And I guess it's human nature. You give us a lot of freedom and we'll get sick of that too one day. So yeah, that sense of boredom does set in. But again, the stage is just brilliant, and where we are at, it's like a dream come true. So no complaints from anyone.
Awesome. That's great. And can you share with us, like, what do you think about team bonding pre-bubble and rather during or post the concept of this bubble? Have you seen it increase drastically, or has it always kind of been there? Because remember, this is, I would say, similar to kind of international soccer, right? In some sense, where players get together, play for their country for specific tournaments, and then go and play for clubs. Here, it's the reverse. Everyone plays for their own kind of countries, but they come back into not a bubble, but they come back into this IPL zone, I would call it. So, any difference you're seeing in pre and post bubbles?
Well, I think that the difference here is the duration that the players get with each other. Typically, in non-COVID days, the IPL, would be about a 45-day affair, and there'd be a pre-camp for about 10 days. So you can say about 55 days at best, because due to the international calendar, the overseas guys would fly in a little later, and the Indian team as well, due to their commitments, would come in later. But this bubble has seen, that 45-day period extend. So like I was enumerating last year, I think the season for us lasted about 83 nights. And, this year with the India leg as well as the UAE leg put together, again, it's going to be about 90 nights. So the duration almost doubles. So you get that much more time with each other. Yeah, earlier was a bit more hectic because on an average, you're traveling every third day. Home game, away game in another city, home game, away game again.
Yeah.
But here we're all, kind of in Dubai, and we travel by road to Sharjah, we travel by road to Abu Dhabi. Otherwise, we're based out of Dubai. Practices here. People tend to, gather, come together a little more in advance than it used to be in non-bubble days. So you get to spend a lot more time with each other. So yes, that definitely helps. But that being said, I think it had the league had its own charm in the non-bubble days as well.
I can
No, so
imagine.
I'll just add one point from having the experience of travel versus non-travel. I think the players have gotten. I mean, I keep referring to this, that when the non-bubble time was there, I was very happy that I used to be in the background, and maybe some of the players not even knowing my name, and Sumit and Suprita, my colleagues, doing all the job. Now the problem with bubble is that everybody knows everybody also. So, because 80, 85, 90 days, you're just together with everyone. In the non-bubble days, without getting into too much detail, players had the time for their own parties.
Yeah.
Their friends, families, hanging out with, their friends or whatever. So that's the difference it has created. Now the team has come together. So I think that it is something like, if I have to give an example, that when you said soccer, it's like the people from different nationalities coming together for that particular time. That is what is happening with IPL. So that's the biggest difference. Maybe it will go back to normal. In as small as a difference, is, let's say we had a match yesterday, we had a match tomorrow. So as Sid mentioned, the travel was so hectic sometimes that yesterday we would have played the match. Tomorrow morning we would have taken a flight to a next destination, which is 1 day gap. Then again, we would have come back the next day after playing the match. So that would have been literally match, flight, and there's a chance you may be playing the match again next day. That's how IPL used to be. That has now changed. So the scheduling has also relaxed a bit.
Awesome. That's very good to know. I have to ask on a lighter note, how is everyone looking so well groomed, all the players during this IPL? Do you guys have some sort of hairstylists inside the bubble?
Sid will answer.
No, the answer is yes, and I'll let Vaibhav take that.
No. We have, obviously, Mr. Bhasin has been kind enough for all of us. He has provided us, all of us, including the players, with a stylist. So we also take advantage of it. And yes, that is. There's a stylist. There's messieurs. So as I said, it's the team and the Krikoff's department, which is under Sid. They have given us enough facilities, and he said, like, we should not crib too much because there'll be a problem. Sid said million. I'm saying in India, it's billion people who will be ready to take our job.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I'm sure there's a lot about bubble fatigue, but it's very positive.
No,
right?
sorry. Another point is, another point is the team is doing well, yeah. So
exactly.
let's be very honest about it.
Yes.
If touch wood, I don't want to go on the other side, but I'm pretty sure things are not the same in the other bubble.
Yeah.
It's team is doing well. Again, comes down to team doing well. So we are happy. We are relaxing. We have good, relaxing.
The mental space is a good. You're in a good mental space. Everyone there.
Yes.
Fantastic. And Sid, tell us a little bit about dressing room vibes. I was, when we wrote out these questions, we had said, what is the difference between a win and a loss? Now you haven't lost too much this year, which is great. But what is dressing room vibes like after a win, after a loss?
Well, hard to really, describe this way. You actually, when you feel it, you realize what it is. We get to see a lot of it in the movies, the sports movies that have been made really well, where there are pep talks happening and there's camaraderie happening, and there's sweat, blood, and tears and joy, and all in one. But when you actually feel it when you're there, I've been lucky enough to feel it a little bit last year and this year as well. It ranges from being really emotional to really electric, and that is the spectrum. But there is no moment in between where the players are not 100% there. And what really helps is to have the likes of Ricky Ponting, Praveen Amre, Mohammad Kaif, Ajay Ratra, James Hopes, these guys around. And they really, really know how to tweak things and how to tweak the environment and what to say when, and to motivate the guys, to encourage the guys, or to let them feel the brunt of it if they need to. It's just amazing. It's masters at work, and you see stuff like that, and the talent that we currently have in our team, be it Shreyas, be it Rishabh, be it Stoinis, and all the other guys who are there. They soak in every word that's coming out of Ricky's mouth, and they take it's nobody feels like they know more, because it's coming from who it's coming from. uh, it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. And when you play against, say, one of the formidable rivals, it's just great to see how everyone comes together. It's amazing.
So yeah, we saw that recently. Vaibhav, I'm gonna give you a quick chance to tell us how great your marketing team has been, right? For players, for fans like us, we get to see Ricky Ponting's speeches on your social media channel. I mean, you guys have been doing some amazing content. Tell us a little bit about, just how what the marketing team is like. What all are they hustling throughout this entire period?
See, first of all, we are lucky to have, the privilege to put out Ricky's speeches. Let me be very honest with that. That is, I think, the single most, important piece of content everybody waits for. I mean, people will write, I'm an SRH fan, but I wait for this. I'm an MI fan, but so, just same as said, lucky to be here and being able to work, with never thought in 10 years ago ki we would be sitting with Ricky Ponting and working. But see, I think there are two facets to it. One is, I think I work with a great team, bunch of really, really dedicated people, uh, people who are fans of the team, who I don't need to remind every day. See, that's the difference between a corporate job and a sports job at the end of the day, to be very honest. People, 90% of the people I work with are self-motivated and
Yeah.
very, very dedicated, because it's hard to see it as a job. I mean, sometimes I myself think that if I'm not doing this, if I, a lot of us do get a chance or may get a chance outside the industry, but it's quite impossible to even imagine doing a normal 9 to 5 job or whatever, 10 to 6 job or whatever. But again, to come back to the point, I think team has done well. I've got a great team. These guys are dedicated. The the target from the owners or our own targets had always been to complement. See, Varun, one thing I'll tell you, I keep telling this to my team. If Real Madrid is good, they are not just good on the field. They are good on social media. They are good on marketing. They are good in operations. They have a great stadium. It's a good team is a good team overall. They are not, you never find a team that is, oh, they are good in attack, but they are bad in defense. They are good in marketing, but they are bad in operations. It's a good team overall. And that's the same thing I would say that we also try to create, whether it's marketing, whether it's operations, whether it's team management. And I think that is again when we talked about the DNA has to be overall. And that is what we try to do. Our job is the fan first approach. Small things like, I remember talking to, say, 2 years ago, or I think 2019 Chennai match, whole ground is yellow. And I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a normal site, but we used to discuss what call can be done. Distributing T-shirts, you know, coming out with slogans like Neela Pehen Ke Aana, which is wear blue. Small steps, and by the sixth match or the seventh match, team performing well, you could see small changes. So all this time we have worked on small changes, and credit goes to the team more than me. I mean, I सिर्फ डंडा चलाता हूँ. They do most of the work.
Very nice, very interesting. Okay, gentlemen, I've kept you quite long, so this is going to be my last question. There's a big mega auction happening next year, right? All of us as fans are very excited to see what happens. As guys who are part of the team and the management, how are you looking at the mega auction?
Well, you've seen our team composition, you know our lineup, and I really don't know how we're going to arrive at choosing just 3 or 4 out of the 25. It's going to be a really tough task, and I'm glad that the owners and the think tank and the coaches have this job and not me. because I really can't. I really can't. I mean, I cannot think of less than 7 names that I do not want to retain and then go back into the auction and buy back the other 18 and still have my squad with me.
Yeah.
Because like Vaibhav kept mentioning, was mentioning that you can't just have a successful marketing and an unsuccessful operation. As in this team, this unit, it's just come together so well. But yeah, I mean, all the other teams are in the same boat. It's going to be a tough one for sure.
I think few of the teams may have a problem of plenty. I think I don't know right now whether that's a good problem to have or a bad problem to have. But for at least for the playing season, it's a good problem. But as I said, like we are also there's also a fan in us also, obviously at the end of the day. So we are also waiting for it. But hopefully the only thing that I would want is the DNA of the core continues, as Mumbai and CSK have been able to do. So touch wood that happens. And yeah, we also can't wait for the mega auctions.
Awesome. Guys, Vaibhav and Siddharth, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys on. We hope this is just the first of many such episodes where we can do one with you all every season and keep hearing more about the team. For now, I want to say just thank you and all the best for the playoffs, right? All of us, no pressure, but we're all really hoping to go one up this year, but all the best.
Thank you.
Thanks, Varun, for having us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Great. All right, guys. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. We hope you enjoyed that chat with the management of the Delhi Capitals. If you are detecting a change in voice, we had a little bit of a substitution at the break. And Varun is still with me, but I'm your host, Ashwin, for the second half of this show. When we go through kind of a more traditional IPL episode, as we run through everything that happened this week and some of the exciting news. So Varun, very exciting. By the time we record next week, we'll be into the knockouts. There'll be qualifiers, playoffs, all that stuff happening. So this was, I don't know, when you watch golf tournaments, they call Saturday moving day, right? That's the day that people start to move, and really, this was moving week, right? We started to see some real decisions on the points table. CSK, Delhi, and RCB mathematically through, and Hyderabad mathematically out. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I mean, Delhi officially qualified. We spoke about that earlier in the first half. But it's been a very interesting tournament because now you've got the top 3 who are going to battle for the top 2 spot. And then you've got 3 other teams battling for the 4th spot. So it actually, I don't know how it works like this in big tournaments, but the last week, it always comes down to the last week. Effectively, now, like Rajasthan versus Mumbai has become a knockout game, which we're looking forward to this week. And for the first time, IPL has introduced 2 matches on the last day at the same time. So a lot to look forward to. More than anything, 2 double headers on weekdays. I think that just makes it even more special.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's actually 4 teams fighting for that slot, right? Because as at the time of recording this, KKR, Punjab, Rajasthan, and Mumbai are all still alive. Am I seeing that right? Or are we saying Punjab is basically mathematically out?
No, I think you're right. I mean, I don't know, maths wise, I'm not sure, but yeah, everyone is still in with a chance. But I think it's 3 teams basically.
Yeah, phenomenal. Wait, who are your 3?
So I say KKR, RR, and Mumbai. These are the 3 teams in contention for the 4th spot. But it's made it tough, right? Because in any other year, if RCB had won 1 or 2 games less, suddenly you have 2 spots open with 4 to 5 teams battling for it. So
I think that's
Virat Kohli will be very happy.
Yeah, and the top, not just RCB, but I guess all 3 top teams, because of how dominant they've been, it has made this battle, and how poor Hyderabad has been across the board, it has made this mid-table tussle very exciting. But I want to quickly touch on what you said. The last day has 2 Friday, October 8th, has 2 evening matches happening simultaneously. It's Hyderabad, Mumbai, and Bangalore, Delhi. Bangalore, Delhi will be potentially a fight for who makes top 2. And Hyderabad Mumbai will be a fight for who qualifies as a 4th potentially, like Mumbai basically. Do they get in or not? So pretty exciting stuff.
I think Hyderabad Mumbai will be the NRR game. So you'll probably see them go out big time because they very clearly know what to do. So I think it's fascinating how you may not know the position of the top 4 until the last ball is bowled on Friday, 8th October, which which is amazing to me.
And that is why we love the IPL, folks. This is what it is. It's magic, right? It's unbelievable. It's just been very, very exciting. But it has been a lot of things going on this week. We don't have the time to go through every single match and go through details. So Varun, I'm going to try to run down. The last episode we had ended on Sunday, September 26th at the end of the 39th match. So there are 10 matches that have happened since. I'm going to try to run down some of the highlights. Again, we know Delhi and Chennai looked good, made it through. RCB had ups and downs, but made it through as well. And Hyderabad, I guess, also sort of had ups and downs, but ended up coming up short. But the first match of this week was Hyderabad versus Rajasthan. And they finally won. This SRH team finally won to get 4 points.
They brought in Jason Roy.
That was the
big difference, right? And remember, Jason Roy has always had to make plays for Bairstow, whether it's for England or for Hyderabad. So he's now come in. He hit 60 or 42 balls, and I think that was the difference.
Yeah, and do you think this is it for Warner? I'm not going to spend more time on this match. Do we think this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, it was sad in the sense that they said that he didn't even take the bus out to the field, so he was sitting in his hotel room watching the game. So obviously, you got a feel for him. But I mean, we're going to get into this later, right? Later in the year. But basically, I have a feeling SRH is not going to retain a single player from their squad and just go in and try to build fresh, because it's just been a disaster. Like, Delhi has had bad years too, but this is an absolute disaster.
Yeah, I think if you're going to have a bad year, the time to do it is the year of the mega auction, right? But they have the ability to still play some spoil sport. So going to be exciting to see what they do and how hard they come in. But they finally got a win. The Tuesday game was probably a little bit more exciting. I mean, of course, not a great result for us as Delhi Capitals fans. Delhi didn't bat very well. 127. We missed out. Prithvi Shaw was out with injury, so Steve Smith came in to open. So overall, not ideal. But what was the headline of that match, coming out of that match, was the little tussle that happened between Ravi Ashwin, who always seems to be in the news. And I feel like I need to ban the words spirit of cricket from my social media timeline because it's just all over the place. But you want to quickly walk our listeners through what happened and what your take is on it?
Yeah, so I mean, what happened is that there was a throw from the field which apparently deflected off Rishabh Pant's glove, and Ashwin and Rishabh Pant went for an extra run. This got Morgan really fired up, Southee as well, and they just walked towards Ashwin and apparently said that this is a disgrace, right? And I mean that's pretty harsh words for anyone in this situation. Now, look. I think from a listener's and a fan's perspective, if Morgan was in Delhi, we would have supported Morgan. If Ashwin was in the other team. So there is a little bit of team bias in this. Ashwin actually had to come out and clap. So firstly, Ashwin got Morgan out for 0, right? So that helped him a little bit.
That was just great. By the way.
Yeah, but then he came out and actually clarified on social media saying, I didn't see the deflection of Rishabh Pant off his glove. So I ran. There's nothing about disgrace. There's no spirit of the game question. It's within the laws. Sehwag had the best.
I mean, how
reply.
good is that guy?
Yeah.
How
so
good?
If you haven't checked it out, you should check that Sehwag's reply out. Because Dinesh Karthik came out after and say Morgan didn't appreciate that. And Sehwag then says,
I appreciate
he said, Bade I appreciate karne wale, the same guy who's won World Cup because Ben Stokes had an overthrow off his bat.
That deflected off his bat and went to the boundary. Come on.
Yeah. So it's lucky DJ's not on today because he has a slightly different view. But
yeah, I'm shocked actually that he disagrees because he's very big on like pro Moncard and stuff because play by the rules, not the spirit. But in this case, I'm not sure. So.
Yeah, so I think in this case, it was just in slightly bad taste to take that extra run. But anyway, so Sehwag's Bade I appreciate karne wale was just fantastic. And then at the end of the day, after all the clarifications were made, everyone realized this is actually Rishabh Pant's fault.
Because, it wasn't even Ashwin.
Yeah, because it hit his glove. So a bit bizarre all over. But I mean, Ashwin is never going to stay away from this limelight and spirit of cricket discussions. The only thing I want to say is that I think from Delhi Capitals perspective, if you ask my honest opinion, they are missing the trick a little bit in terms of getting Sam Billings in. Steve Smith is not adding all that much value at a run-a-ball kind of player when you've got Shreyas Iyer back in the team. So if anyone is listening to this, like I don't know what everyone's views are, but I believe Sam Billing should be in. But let's see how it goes.
Didn't you just talk to the Delhi management in the first
I
place?
did actually. I should have brought it up with them, but I was so excited to be talking to them. I didn't want to give team suggestions.
No, I'm just kidding. Of course, that's not going to be our place. I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how, if at all, that fourth overseas slot gets used, right? Is it Smith? Is it Billing? Is it too late now in the season to bring in Billings in? Is Stoinis out? I don't know if Stoinis is fully out for the season. I haven't been.
No, I don't. They haven't announced he's fully out for the season, but
Yeah.
they've just said he's still unavailable.
Yeah. So anyway, drama. Ravi Ashwin will always be somewhere near drama. Coming out of that match, the same day we had another match in the doubleheader, and this was Mumbai versus Punjab. And Mumbai finally starting to get some points. I think they had 3 losses in a row, and then they came out and did it. But again, don't want to get into too much detail. This wasn't the most exciting game, but Hardik Pandya back in form. Started his innings very scratchy, ended up making 40 of 30. He batted at number 5 and got this team over the finish line. It's basically more about this finisher role, right? So I don't know, Varun, how excited are you about that? Hardik was 24 of 25, so he was a run a ball. And then off the penultimate Shami over, he just went nuts and got his strike rate up and got them over the line.
Yeah, so from a pure India perspective, very good to see Hardik Pandya. Look, we've always said this. There is no substitute for him. So he's going to walk into that 11. Now, we don't know if he's going to bowl or not. Everyone's been talking about, how he's probably not going to bowl. Mumbai Indians themselves have said they're trying to not strain him before the World Cup. But Hardik Pandya back in form is a very good thing for us. Because also nobody else is performing, right? Ishan Kishan is now not even Ishan Kishan is not even good enough.
I couldn't come off mute fast enough to mock you for that, but at least you mocked yourself.
But Kishan can't make it to the playing 11 of Mumbai. Surya Kumar Yadav is like getting out duck first ball. Rohit Sharma is not clicking. Kohli is going at a runner ball. Pant has matured, so his game is turning out a little bit different. So when you think about it, nobody in the team is performing except Bumrah and Shami, right? So it's a little bit concerning for India, but anyway, there's still some time to go. Let's hope everyone gets their act together.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a similar vein, interestingly, the other player who kind of plays this role for RCB of that big hitter finisher guy has been Glenn Maxwell. Not as much of an all-rounder as Pandya, so that was me just trying to force a link so I could move to the next discussion topic. But how good has Maxwell been this year? I mean, I'm looking at the next game that happened was Rajasthan versus Bangalore, where Rajasthan didn't do badly, not great, but Glenn Maxwell just came and made it look easy, made 50 off 30, really helped Bangalore's net run rate, got them over the line with almost 3 overs to spare, made a great half century. But this team looks completely different when Maxwell is firing. I mean, AB arguably hasn't had a good season yet or hasn't had to do much this season, but just Glenn Maxwell is so good when he's at his best, right?
Yeah, I mean, 2 points here very quickly. One is Glenn Maxwell is very good. Like even the game where, he was hitting his switch hits and stuff, like it was excellent to watch. He targeted a smaller part of the boundary or the ground and just went after that. So very good to see Maxwell in form. He's bowling as well. I think Australia will be happy. I think RCB will be happy. And secondly, we talked about this before IPL started, that I think the strategy for RCB is to split up Kohli and De Villiers because they've been the most successful batting pair in the history of IPL. And they've also had the most losses. So something is not clicking. So very, very good strategy from RCB. Great that Maxwell is coming off. It's very easy to have everything down on paper. But if Maxwell was getting out for 5-10 runs, again, you're creating the same problem.
Yeah, absolutely. The only other quick shout out I'll give on this match, because DJ and I talked about last week, is how good has Yuzvendra Chahal been? Picked up 4 overs, 2 for 18. I mean, didn't get selected for the T20 squad. Is that what he needed? The little fire?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's so many rumors going on that Kohli wanted him in the squad, but the selectors didn't. And I mean, if I was Kohli, I would just have a chat saying, look, what's done is done. There's a little bit of time left. If you can come in and turn it around and take the matter into your own hands, do it, right? Because you're still very much part of the India setup. Maybe not in 30 days time, but you're very much part of the India setup. So very happy for him.
Yeah, could not agree more. And then, I mean, the last match we'll quickly talk about before taking a break is Hyderabad versus Chennai. I mean, just clinical again, right? Roy didn't look great. Saha made some runs. Josh Hazelwood comes in for Chennai now, starts picking up wickets. Picked up a 3 for Ruturaj Gaikwad has just looked magnificent. We'll talk about him a little bit later too. But just a great clinical finish again from Chennai. So nothing much more to say. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I think just to add, I saw a Cricinfo stat that, so, Chennai has always done well based on their openers, right? Whether it's been Hayden, and I can't remember who Hayden's partner was, Hayden and Hasi, all the way down to Faf and Watson to Faf and Ruturaj now. I think this season has been their best season for the openers. And when you think about it, Raina hasn't done anything. Raidu hasn't done anything. Dhoni hasn't done anything. Moeen hasn't done much. So it's just these two guys are carrying the entire team.
It's actually unbelievable how good CSK has been despite the big names you said not performing. But with that, we're going to take a quick break. If it feels like we are racing through this, we are, because there's a lot to cover, but it's very exciting. We love the IPL. We will be right back after this short break. Welcome back to the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. Varun, we've covered most of the week since we last met. We now have 5 matches left. There was a Friday game and then 2 magnificent doubleheader days. Let's start with the Friday game. KKR versus Punjab. Punjab seems to have this ridiculous inability to finish matches. This one match they were able to get over the line, but they still probably left it closer than they should have. But let me ask you 2 things. Let's talk 2 things about this match. One, I think you sent a message on our group between the 3 of us saying, who is this Venkatesh Iyer guy? Like, where has he come from? About DJ and I talked a little last week, but I want your quick take on him, because he seems to not just bat, but also bowl and pick up wickets, etc. And then 2, KL Rahul, just a clutch player, but seems to have this inability to finish matches. He managed to finish this one just to keep Punjab alive mathematically.
Yeah, so first, Venkatesh Iyer, like I'm a fan. I think I'm most excited that he can bowl as well, because India has lacked that, and the only answer to that has been Kedar Yadav. So I am really excited that he can bowl. It's going to take time. When you look at Venkatesh Iyer, you see a fearless guy who doesn't have too many thoughts in his head. He's just playing the way he wants to. Brendan McCullum spoke about him and said he's actually very intelligent, and I think that helps as he assesses the game. So I think he needs to work on his fitness. I think he needs to work on some consistency. And I mean, nobody will be happier than us to see another name of the IPL kind of make it through, let's say, to the Indian squad. But most importantly, I think happy for him that with the mega auction coming up, there's going to be so many teams behind him. I mean, people are saying he could make over 10 crores in this auction alone, right? So very happy for him. Coming to the match, though, I think this was one of the worst matches of the tournament in terms of just how poor the cricket was all round. The Punjab Kings kept handing the match to KKR, and KKR politely kept saying, no, thank you, we don't want this game. They dropped so many catches, and it was unbelievable. And then even as Rahul was batting through, because very clearly his role is now just to take this to the last ball, Puran, Makram, Huda, all of these guys just hit it straight down the fielder's throat. And you could see Rahul was getting frustrated, very, very frustrated. In the last over, Rahul has the chance to win this at a runner ball, and he hits it down the fielder's throat, straight to Shivam Mavi. So, it was phenomenal just to even think from the perspective that the shot that won them the game was a drop catch of Rahul Tripathi on the boundary. So, terrible game, like cricket-wise, but I mean, I would say good for the table because it's just creating a little bit more drama.
Yeah, and of course, it was that man, Shah Rukh Khan, who took them over the line. So hopefully some more finishing to come from the Punjab side, but you're absolutely right. Just poor all around. Let's talk Saturday morning, or morning for me, but early afternoon game. The Delhi Capitals have officially completed the double over Rohit Sharma and the Mumbai Indians. I mean, of course, our fans know we're biased and we're big Delhi Capitals fans. I have the jersey here with me. I just keep it with me every time I'm recording a podcast episode. But, oh, you got yours too. Love it. That's great. We're clearly one-track minded. But let's talk about this, right? Varun, let me ask you, again, DJ and I talked a lot about this, but Delhi's bowling has just been phenomenal, right? You have Avesh picking up 3 for 15 and Akshar picking up 3 for 21. You restricted the Mumbai batting lineup to 129. I mean, we didn't bat great, let's be honest.
Avesh had 16 dot balls and Nokia had 15 dot balls.
That is unbelievable.
I was watching this. They had a 2-over spell where they had 1 run. And I was shocked because I was like, the score is not moving. I mean, just put it this way. In the last 2-3 games, Rabada has looked like the weak link. That says a lot.
I mean, absolutely unbelievable. The bowling has been phenomenal. Our batting didn't look very good, but it was how great was it to see former captain and current captain Rishabh Pant and Shreyas Iyer batting together, putting together a pretty good partnership, 30 odd runs, and getting the team kind of stably over the line. And then, of course, Shreyas Iyer just guiding us over. How great was that to see for Delhi?
Yeah, like I said, okay, we have to be a little objective in the sense that we didn't start off well, right? Our Prithvi Shaw 6, Dhawan 8, Smith 9. Then you change the batting order slightly. Hetmeyer hit a silly shot. So it is worrying as you approach the playoffs. But yes, when you've got Shreyas Iyer there and, check out the Delhi Capitals social media page. You'll see Ricky Ponting's dressing room speech where he basically just described Shreyas Iyer as smart, mature, and classy, right? To be able to play that innings. So that was great.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a run of ball innings is often mocked in T20 cricket, but we needed that, and the top order collapsed, and he did great. Let me ask you one last thing. I know we got to rush, but I want to ask you one quick question. How does this whole situation with Mumbai currently bode for Rohit Sharma, right? Remember all the drama about Kohli saying he's going to step down, Rohit potentially coming up to become captain, and all this. Suddenly now, like, yes, Rohit has won titles, and I don't want to have a overly short memory, but this is not good for Rohit right now, is it?
No, it's not good because he also just keeps looking frustrated every time something is not going his way. Now, that's not what a leader does, right? You don't, every time something doesn't go your way, you don't throw your head back and say, oh, that sucks, right? You have to do something about it. So he's won enough. Let's just not jinx this, okay? They're still very much in contention for this IPL as of the time of recording. So it doesn't hold up well. And anyway, I've always got a standing joke, right? That it's more Mahela than Rohit. So we'll find out. We'll find out over time.
Man, I decided this week, I think I'm going to go back and rewatch that Netflix show about the Mumbai.
I did that actually.
Oh, nice.
That's why I said that it's more Mahela. But it's all bias, man. Seriously, we like Rohit on this show. It's just we like Kohli a little bit more.
That's exactly it. Hey, Delhi got the double over Mumbai. And then we went to the second match of the day, which was probably one of the best matches I can recall this IPL so far.
Because everything has been so low scoring, right?
Yeah. And we just needed a high scoring tournament. And can I be clear for those of our listeners who are playing fantasy cricket with us? I used my 2x booster where every player gets double points. I had Ruturaj Gaikwad.
No, not on this game though.
Oh, did I not use? I didn't use.
No, you're not on this. But you are number one in our league and doing very well in the Edges and Sledges league. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. I didn't use it. I did have Ruturaj Gaikwad, who made a great century. It's been good.
Everyone has Ruturaj Gaikwad.
I had him vice captain. Let's be clear.
Yeah, that's
anyway. And I had Jaiswal, who made a nice little 50 as captain. So it was a good match. But yes, I lost track. 189 for 4. How good was that? I remember I wasn't at home. I was watching it on my phone while I was on the go. And I had 19.5. Gaikwad is batting on 95. And he just hits this great, you just cannot help but feel elation for this young kid, right?
I was really angry with Jadeja, right?
Yeah. I think
Jadeja's,
was it his responsibility to take signals to give him strike then? Because
he should have given it to him at least with a couple of balls.
He hit 32 or 15 balls, arguably.
And actually, some of the shots Jadeja hit were just they were mind blowing. Very honestly, I down on one knee, putting it in different corners, when I have to correct myself. When I said there's nobody in form from the squad and mentioned only Bumrah and Shami, Jadeja is the third guy. Okay. I mean, Jadeja could actually bat at number 6 for India, given the way he is. So
he could bat at 5, honestly, right now, dude. Just like the way he's batting. But anyhow.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was a funny surface, right? This because Chennai Super Kings came out. They didn't get off to what's the right word? But a massive start.
Yeah.
They kept chugging along, and somewhere along the line, the pitch flattened. Right. So I'm not sure exactly what it is. What people have been saying is once Dew was taken out of the equation, the pitch just flattened. So Ruturaj managed to take advantage of that. Jadeja managed to, but when Rajasthan Royals came out to bat, Dhoni actually is the one who said that we should have set them 250 the way they batted. So here's RR's chance to actually close some of the net run rate gap, right? They come out, Lewis hits it 225 strike rate. Jaiswal goes at 238. Samson needs to stabilize the ship at 120. And then Shivam Dubey at 150 strike rate. So,
Shivam Dubey is back.
Yeah, like suddenly first game back, promoted to number 4 and just plays brilliantly. Like he was excellent. I mean, if there was somebody who could do a video montage of Dubey and Padikal equals to Yuvraj, that would be great, right? Like they just both look so similar to him in terms of build and style of shots. But excellent win, and they won in 17.3 overs, right? So
chasing 190. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that boosted their run rate, and that's why Dhoni came out and said we should have hit 250. But overall, great match. Youngsters doing well, and this is the difference between Rajasthan Royals and Punjab for me. Rajasthan Royals is fun and entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
They can pull off this kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, you've led me perfectly into talking about Punjab, but I do want to state for the record, for if you're not watching on YouTube, this Varun has now dropped his microphone twice. So you might be able to hear it on the podcast, but it's officially fallen somewhere off his desk twice. Anyway, Punjab, boring brand of cricket. Royal Challengers Bangalore put up 164. Yet again, Maxwell looks good. Makes a nice looking 50. Openers do okay. They collapsed a little bit. Mohammad Shami looked good. And then you're chasing 164. And Punjab gets so close in the first match of the doubleheader. They got down to, what did they need? They needed like 27 off of 12. Like they were in the hunt, and they just cannot pull out a win. They just can't get over the line, can they?
No, so I have, like, based on your description, I have no idea what game you're talking about.
It could be any of these games where Punjab is
chasing. It could be any game from Punjab in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
We've discussed it so many times. It's really unbelievable. I mean, I think the key thing here in this game was that the commentators and everyone thought this was a 130 pitch. Virat Kohli came out and said, we're going to aim for 150 on this pitch. And they ended up getting 165. So that extra that Maxwell pushed them towards, Maxwell and de Villiers, essentially that won them the game, because Punjab batted very similarly to Bangalore. It came down to 10 runs.
Yeah, and I think what is interesting, a lot of the commentators now are saying RCB's, this is one of the first years we've seen RCB win the close matches, right? Punjab is now falling short, but RCB has historically been that team. Right, we did it. We're down to one final match to get through. Who was playing? Hyderabad versus KKR. Again, a pretty unfortunate match. You want to go through this one?
I couldn't even watch the whole thing, to be honest. It was so boring. It was so slow. It's just like, I wish somebody would just end this misery for Sunrisers Hyderabad. Just tell them that you don't have to play anymore, because it just looks painful. And they've got an Indian core, but you know what? Unfortunately, none of these guys have stood up. If you think of every other team, right from a Venkatesh Iyer to a Prithvi Shaw to Padikal to, even Shah Rukh Khan on some level for Punjab, or Arshdeep Singh. How can I say Shah Rukh Khan when Arshdeep is there? Even Arshdeep, everyone has had some Indian uncapped player stand up for them except Hyderabad. And that's when you realize this is the Indian Premier League. If your core Indian group doesn't perform, there's nothing you can do about it. So very, very kind of boring match. Again, I want to say KKR batting is in shambles. Okay, let's be honest. Gill hit 57, but the middle order has not done anything. It could end up haunting them if they make the playoffs. They've not got Lockie Ferguson. They've not got Andre Russell, but hats off to them. Look, they're figuring out how to win this through their bowling, and Shakib came in as well, right? So now just imagine between Shakib, Narayan and Varun Chakravarti, this is one of the strongest bowling lineups. And personally, I'm very interested to see KKR play like this for a little longer, because I want to assess what having 3 full-time spinners is like for the World Cup as well.
That is going to be fascinating as well. So there you have it. We got through all the matches. As we stand, the first match on Monday, which some of you would have already watched by the time you listen, is CSK versus Delhi, which is basically the battle to see who's going to get it, who's going to cement a spot in the top 2. Which is
also
exciting.
My 2x overall team for the fantasy.
Oh, you're using it tomorrow? Oh, yeah. I didn't know you had yours left.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's dangerous. Now I want it to be a good match, but all the random less known players to do well. Varun, let me quickly ask you. You said KKR, Rajasthan, and Mumbai are all in the hunt for that 4th spot. Who's going to make it? Wait, I can't hear you. No.
It feels like KKR. It feels like they're gonna make it, but I I don't know, man. I hate KKR and Mumbai both so much that I don't know. But I'm gonna say KKR. I'm gonna say KKR
Would you
because
be more upset if it was KKR or more upset if it's Mumbai?
I think I'll just be upset either way. So that's not gonna be.
So let's go
fun, but-
Rajasthan, right?
No, I mean, I would love Rajasthan. Like, I would love it if Rajasthan made it. Nothing would make me happier. But look, the thing is, what KKR did yesterday was excellent for them because they've put the fate in their own hands. They're not depending on any of the results. Mumbai can maximum get to 14 points, and KKR can maximum get to 14 points. So when the run rate comes into play, KKR is plus 0.29 today, and Mumbai is minus 0.45. Now, my maths is not strong enough for me to determine how much of a gap that is, especially for Mumbai Indians over 2 matches. Also, in the last 2 matches where you're trying to get the points, not the runs, but it's I feel like it's just tilting in KKR's favor slightly.
Right. And of course, KKR versus Rajasthan is the second match on Thursday the 7th, which is going to likely be some sort of a decider, as you said. So very exciting week ahead. The first qualifier is going to be next Sunday. So we'll probably join you again right after that one to preview the eliminator and the second qualifier. Definitely make sure you're joining us on our Discord, on Twitter, on Facebook. We're at One Took One Hand everywhere you want to find us. We're playing fantasy cricket. It's been a ton of fun. I was going to do a quick top 10, but I had to scroll pretty far to find you. But let's do it really quick. So number 1 is Nattu by 11, who's been up there for quite a while. Number 2 is Johnny Blazers. Number 3 is Pull COVID-19. I am pretty nicely perched right now at number 10. So pretty excited about that. Varun, you have overtaken DJ. You are at 43 and he is at 47. So you only have just under 90 points over him, but you have your 2x and I don't know if he's used his yet.
He's used his.
So there it is. Great, exciting season. Thank you as always for listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, as always, please like and subscribe. We'll be back next week with even more feverish IPL, and it's going to be a great playoff season before we get right into the World Cup. So lots of great cricket ahead. This has been the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. Thanks for joining.
IVM